When Twitch Plays Pokemon Red launched on February 12, 2014, it seemed like a small, odd experiment. An anonymous Australian programmer had connected the classic Pokemon Red version to a Twitch chat, allowing anyone watching to control the game by typing commands like up, A, or start. As a result, a global digital phenomenon followed. The idea was simple. Thousands of people would type commands into a live chat, all controlling one character at once. As you can imagine, the result was pure chaos. Initially, the system ran under a mode called Anarchy, where every single input was executed in order. If one person typed up and another typed down, the game would instantly follow both, canceling out progress and often sending the protagonist, Red, walking in circles for hours. Word spread across Reddit, Twitter, and gaming communities as the stream gained attention. Within days, the channel had gone viral, drawing over 120,000 live viewers and amassing more than 1 million unique participants. For 16 days, 7 hours, 45 minutes, and 30 seconds, the world watched the internet collectively try to beat a game that was never meant to be played this way. Twitch Plays Pokemon became a social experiment in mass cooperation and conflict. The Anarchy mode allowed trolls to thrive, where users would intentionally type destructive commands to sabotage the game, causing the team to lose critical battles, or in one infamous moment, release some of their strongest Pokemon into the wild. To balance the madness, the programmer introduced a new system called Democracy Mode. Under this system, the game paused every few seconds, tallied the most common command in the chat, and executed it. It slowed gameplay down dramatically, but gave order to the chaos. Against all odds, the collective internet managed to navigate through gyms, defeat rival trainers, and eventually face the Elite Four. On March 1st, 2014, after nearly 390 hours of cumulative playtime, Twitch Plays Pokemon Red reached its conclusion. The internet had collectively beaten the game. By the time the experiment ended, the Twitch channel had attracted tens of millions of views. In recognition of its cultural impact, Twitch Plays Pokemon won the 2014 Game Award for Best Fan Creation. A decade later, the event is remembered as a crazy internet moment, proving that even through noise, delay, and trolling, thousands of strangers across the world could unite toward one impossible goal, and that is beating Pokemon Red together, one chaotic command at a time. In 2017, Twitch pulled off a move that felt completely out of left field. It rolled out the IRL category. This was a fundamental shift, allowing creators to broadcast literally anything that happened outside the game. Twitch had effectively opened its doors to a brand new kind of content, life itself. Before this moment, Twitch was all about gameplay, and if you went live without streaming a game, you could be banned. Pioneers like Ice Poseidon had already been poking holes in Twitch's format. He started by streaming under the thin guise of Pokemon Go, a mobile game that required real-world exploration, but slowly, the focus shifted entirely to his daily adventures. Viewers stopped caring about his game stats and became obsessed with his personality and the wild unpredictability of the streets. By the middle of 2017, the massive viewer hunger for this content could no longer be ignored. Twitch officially launched the IRL category to legitimize these streams. For the first time, the platform wasn't just showcasing people playing games, it was showcasing people living. Crucially, the company updated its mobile app, making it dead simple for anyone to go live from anywhere. All you needed was a phone and a signal, not a $3,000 gaming rig. Streamers were suddenly free from their bedrooms and their office setups. They took their cameras to cafes, airports, parks, and pretty much anywhere around the world. The IRL Meta turned Twitch into a kind of global, live reality television show, but without the producers, scripts, or filters. Inevitably, this high-stakes unscripted content led to serious trouble. Streamers like Ice Poseidon became icons, yet their methods created enormous controversy. The genre hit a brutal turning point later in 2017, when Ice Poseidon was permanently banned from Twitch after a string of high-profile incidents. It was a massive wake-up call and a terrifying warning that real life, when broadcast completely live and without limits, was often too unpredictable and impossible to control. Yet the overall shift was irreversible. Dozens of creators jumped into the format, finding new sustainable ways to blend personal storytelling, adventure, and audience interaction. By the time 2017 wrapped up, IRL became Twitch's top 10 most watched categories, standing toe-to-toe with established gaming giants like League of Legends and PUBG. The platform had fundamentally changed. It wasn't just about high scores or competitive play anymore. It was about genuine connection, watching the messy, unscripted flow of life through someone else's lens. In 2018, the world of online streaming changed. At Twitch's annual town hall meeting at PAX East in Boston, the discussion centered on one thing: Fortnite Battle Royale. The vibrant, cartoonish game reshaped Twitch's entire ecosystem, transforming how creators, audiences, and even the platform itself functioned. At the time, Twitch was already growing steadily, but Fortnite's arrival supercharged everything. Aaron Wayne, then a Twitch community manager, revealed that Twitch Prime's social media activity had grown by nearly 70% since Fortnite's rise. Streamers across genres, even those not playing Fortnite, saw their audiences rise. Because Fortnite is so explosive, it brought a whole bunch of new users to Twitch, Wayne explained. Before Fortnite, many players didn't see a reason to join the platform. Now millions were tuning in to watch. At the heart of this explosion was one man, Twitch streamer Ninja. Known for his skills at competitive gaming and high energy, Ninja turned Fortnite streaming into a mainstream spectacle. In March 2018, he broke records after streaming Fortnite live with Drake, Travis Scott, and Juju Smith-Schuster, an event that drew over 600,000 concurrent viewers and crashed parts of Twitch's chat system. Suddenly, streaming wasn't just for gamers, it was now for everyone. News outlets like CNN, ESPN, and the New York Times began covering streamers like rock stars. The idea of making a career out of playing games on camera had gone from niche to normal. By the end of the year, Ninja had become Twitch's most watched streamer, boasting over 200,000 paying subscribers. Each of those subscribers paid between $5 to $25 per month, giving him an estimated $10 million in annual revenue, according to CNN at the time. His New Year's Eve broadcast from Times Square drew massive crowds online, even if his attempt to wow the audience didn't quite land. Names like Tfue, Dr. Lupo, and Dakotas also found stardom during this golden era. Each had their own uniqueness, but they all shared one thing: Fortnite gave them a global audience. Anyone could play and anyone could stream. It was about who was the best player and who could entertain, connect, and create a moment. That shift helped create a new kind of influencer, the gaming entertainer, a mix of athlete, comedian, and showman, all in one. Twitch in turn evolved alongside its streamers. The platform's interface became more community-driven, emphasizing subscribers, bits, and emotes. By late 2018, Twitch became one of the most popular websites on the internet. Fortnite made watching someone else play an event. The Fortnite boom changed Twitch's numbers and redefined streaming itself. It proved that gaming could stand alongside music, film, and sports as a legitimate entertainment industry. When Among Us launched in 2018, almost no one noticed. It was a small, unusual social deduction game built by 3 indie developers at Innersloth, quietly released for mobile and PC. But 2 years later, in the middle of global lockdowns, it exploded into one of the most unexpected success stories in gaming history. In 2020, most of the year's biggest hits came from studios with million-dollar budgets and aggressive marketing. Among Us, by contrast, was a miracle game being humble in design, simple in mechanics, yet impossible to put down. It started out as insignificant, yet became one of the most played and most streamed games on Earth, climbing to 4th place on Steam and crossing $100 million by September 2020. The idea of the game was very simple: a few crewmates trapped on a spaceship, desperately trying to complete tasks and survive. But among them lies one or more imposters, whose goal was to secretly kill the others and sabotage the mission. It is a mix of teamwork, deception, and social drama. Players debated who was the suspect, whilst hurling accusations, pleading innocence, and often ejecting the wrong person into space. It was chaotic, funny, and endlessly replayable. While the game's simplicity made it accessible to anyone, its real secret weapon was its streamability. The game was perfectly designed for Twitch and YouTube. This way, every moment of suspicion, betrayal, and laughter is translated into live entertainment. Viewers didn't need to know the rules to enjoy the tension. They could play detective in real time. Even those who never picked up a controller found themselves in guessing games and emotional meltdowns. By August 2020, Among Us had become a streaming phenomenon, pulling in nearly 31 million hours watched in a single month on Twitch. On average, 500 to 1,000 Twitch channels were streaming the game every day. The more creators streamed it, the more viewers tuned in, and the more people wanted to play it themselves. The game also became a cultural bridge across streaming communities. It united personalities from wildly different corners of the internet: variety streamers, pro gamers, even celebrities and politicians. On Twitch, Among Us eliminated the problem of downtime that often follows live content. Because players constantly interacted, argued, and reacted to one another, streams stayed energetic and spontaneous. Content creators especially found it useful because every match created organic, unscripted moments perfect for clips and highlights. The game's rise also revealed a new era in how games achieve success. In the modern digital landscape, visibility through streaming can matter more than traditional marketing. If a game catches fire on Twitch, it can go from unknown to global overnight, and Among Us proved it. By late 2020, Among Us had created countless memes, parodies, fan art, and a vocabulary with words like sus, vented, and emergency meeting. It reminded the world that sometimes the most powerful experiences could come from simple ideas that make people talk, laugh, and betray each other with a smile. Beginning in early 2021, the hot tub meta trend saw streamers, mostly women, broadcasting themselves in swimsuits while lounging in inflatable pools or hot tubs. It started as a seemingly harmless way to engage audiences, but quickly spiraled into a heated debate about the boundaries of adult content, gender double standards, and Twitch's inconsistent moderation policies. While Twitch was originally built around gaming, the platform grew into a social ecosystem where millions log in daily to chat, connect, and perform. Within this environment, creators are constantly looking for new ways to stand out. The hot tub trend fit perfectly into that space. It is a visual, interactive setup that invites conversation and attention. But things started going wrong when a handful of creators began streaming from inflatable pools set up in their rooms. They were still technically following the rules, wearing swimwear in a pool, not engaging in explicit acts, and maintaining Twitch's community guidelines. But critics argued they were exploiting a loophole, and that is transforming Twitch into what some described as a softcore streaming site. The debate intensified after Twitch temporarily demonetized certain hot tub streamers, like the popular Amaranth, without warning. The move triggered outrage from fans in the broader creator community, who saw it as yet another example of Twitch's inconsistent enforcement of its own rules. In response to the uproar, Twitch released a public statement clarifying its stance. "No one deserves to be harassed for the content they choose to stream," the company wrote. It also reaffirmed that sexually suggestive content remains banned, but added an important distinction that context matters. Swimwear in a pool or beach setting was considered context-appropriate attire. To address advertiser concerns and audience confusion, Twitch introduced a new category titled Pools, Hot Tubs, and Beaches. This was both a policy solution and a public acknowledgement that hot tub streamers were officially part of Twitch culture. Supporters saw it as progress, a recognition of diverse forms of content creation, and a step toward treating women streamers fairly. Critics, on the other hand, accused Twitch of normalizing adult content on a platform accessible to teenagers. Some users claimed Twitch had devolved into a platform prioritizing sexuality. Underlying these arguments, however, was a deeper cultural tension. The majority of Twitch's audience has historically been male, about 65% in 2019, and female streamers have long faced a unique kind of scrutiny. Many are caught in a double bind of being criticized for being too sexual if they embrace their appearance, and overlooked if they don't conform to the visual expectations of the platform. The creation of a separate hot tub category set a precedent for how the platform handles emerging trends that blur the line between entertainment and adult appeal. The Twitch data breach of 2021 was a major cybersecurity incident that exposed the vulnerabilities of one of the world's largest live streaming platforms. The breach revealed sensitive company information, including internal tools, source code, and creator payout data. The breach occurred in October 2021 when an anonymous individual posted a 125GB file online, claiming it contained Twitch's entire source code and internal company documents. The data was leaked on the anonymous message board 4chan and quickly spread across the internet. The incident was not the result of a sophisticated cyber attack, but rather a server configuration error that allowed unauthorized access to Twitch's internal systems. This small mistake in the platform's cloud setup ultimately led to a massive data leak that shocked both the company and its global user base. Twitch confirmed the breach on October 6, 2021, acknowledging that the exposed data included confidential information from within the company. Reports showed detailed payout data from 2019 onward, revealing how much some of the highest earning streamers made through subscriptions, ads, and donations. The anonymous leaker labeled the post as Part 1, implying that more information could be released in the future. They also included the hashtag #DoBetterTwitch, which suggested that the motive may have been ideological rather than purely malicious. Following the disclosure, Twitch began an internal investigation led by its security team. The company determined that the data exposure was caused by a configuration change in its server environment. Twitch emphasized that while the breach included a large volume of data, no user login credentials, passwords, or full credit card numbers were compromised. To reassure its users, Twitch reset all stream keys out of caution and advised creators to update their streaming software. After the breach, Twitch worked to strengthen its internal defenses and rebuild trust with its community. However, the incident also raised concerns about transparency in the technology industry and the responsibility large platforms have to protect their creators and their data. The 2021 Twitch data breach remains one of the most significant cybersecurity events in recent years. The gambling meta was easily the most toxic, chaotic, and corporate-driven craze Twitch has ever seen. It was a short-lived, sponsored disaster that came crashing down in 2022, forcing the platform to implement a landmark ban. The roots of the problem really started taking hold around 2020, with everyone glued to their screens during the pandemic. Unregulated offshore crypto casinos, like Stake.com, saw Twitch's young global audience as the ultimate untapped market. Their strategy was genius, yet completely suspicious. They threw unbelievable amounts of money, easily 6 figures a month, at top streamers just to play slots, dice, and roulette live. Unlike typical endorsement, these streamers were given massive, non-withdrawable bankrolls, essentially house money, guaranteeing they could hit those spectacular jackpots without ever truly facing financial ruin. Streamers like Trainwrecks TV, and even briefly popular streamers like XQC, became the faces of the movement. Watching a personality scream at a $500,000 spin dominated the viewership charts, turning the small slots category into a permanent fixture among the platform's most watched tags. For every viewer who found it entertaining, there was an army of critics who saw the meta as deeply, dangerously predatory. Unlike traditional regulated gambling, these crypto sites were operating with minimal oversight. They had questionable age verification, no robust deposit limits, and little to no resources for addiction help. The community's biggest fear was that these streamers were directing millions of young, often broke viewers to sites specifically designed to drain their money, all while the streamers themselves were playing with fake capital. It felt fundamentally dishonest and incredibly exploitative. For nearly 2 years, the tension was building, but it finally boiled over in the late summer of 2022. In September 2022, streamer Slicker confessed in a painful, tearful broadcast that he had become a severe gambling addict and had scammed his friends, fans, and colleagues out of about $200,000 to feed his habit. The addiction was fueled by the exact type of online slots being advertised all over Twitch. Almost immediately, major untouchable stars like Mizkif and Asmongold issued a clear, forceful ultimatum insisting that the content should be banned or they would walk out. This coordinated public pressure and media frenzy gave Twitch management absolutely no room to hide. On September 20th, 2022, Twitch announced a massive policy change that would take effect on October 18th. The rule was that you couldn't stream sites that offered slots, roulette, or dice games if they weren't fully licensed in the US or other major jurisdictions with robust consumer protection. They even named and shamed the 4 primary offenders, including Stake.com. The ban killed the gambling meta on Twitch overnight. However, rather than moving to other content, gambling streamers launched a brand new rival platform called Kick. The new site was co-founded by an executive tied to Stake.com, openly embracing the very casino content Twitch had just cancelled. The Subathon Meta was a cultural explosion that completely redefined how we view live streaming. From 2021 onward, streamers stayed live for days, weeks, or even months, with their runtime literally extended by audience subscriptions. The meta was popularized by Ludwig in March 2021. He started a stream with a countdown timer, and for every subscription a viewer purchased, he tacked on 10 additional seconds. When the clock hit 0, the stream was over no matter what. Ludwig figured it might last a week tops. Instead, it became a massive month-long cultural moment. For 31 consecutive days, Ludwig literally lived his life on camera. He slept in a ridiculous race car bed, ate meals, showered briefly off camera, and played games, all while the relentless timer reminded him that the audience was paying him, second by second, to stay there. The marathon finally ended on April 13th, 2021, smashing Ninja's long-held record for the most concurrent subscribers on Twitch, peaking at over 282,000 active subs. This stunt earned millions, and proved that the ultimate form of engagement was not just watching, but paying to participate in the spectacle. After Ludwig's success, the record became a target, not a permanent achievement. The next true challenger was the VTuber Ironmouse. In February 2022, the Puerto Rican streamer, who uses an animated avatar due to a chronic immune system disorder, launched her own 31-day subathon. It became one of the most heartwarming moments in Twitch history. Her community rallied around her, making her the most subscribed female streamer on the platform. By 2024, her second subathon briefly claimed the overall Twitch record. The record was quickly beaten yet again by Kai Cenat. His 2023 month-long subathon shattered Ludwig's record, reaching over 306,000 concurrent subscribers. He then did a second one in 2024, amassing over 727,000 subscribers. Now, recently in 2025, he achieved a mind-blowing 1 million active subs, a record probably no one will ever be able to beat. Featuring countless celebrity appearances and elaborate challenges, his approach transformed the format from a personal challenge into a mainstream media event. As the Subathon meta proved its immense profitability, countless other streamers joined in. Among the most popular was the new FaZe Clan. Starting in 2024 and repeating in 2025, FaZe hosted their own massive month-long subathons. Instead of just one person streaming, it was a constantly rotating 24/7 extravaganza featuring each of the members, all trying to get their own subscriber numbers up. At the end of the day, the Subathon meta perfected the monetization of time where the viewer's payment directly controlled the creator's continued presence. It normalized the idea that pushing physical and mental limits, even sleeping live, is the ultimate form of fan service and engagement. Thank you very much for watching this video, and if you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, comment down below your thoughts on any of the Twitch moments I discussed in this video, and subscribe if you would like to see a part 2 or more videos like this one. Thank you again, and goodbye.